Test, test. Hello and welcome to Frank Threats Jr. Gymnasium here on the campus of John Marshall. I'm Edison Palombi alongside Alex Petrie, and here we have a big matchup. The top two teams in the city of Richmond go at it here on this Saturday night as St. Christopher's travels to John Marshall. These two teams a combined 27-2. St. Christopher's coming into this game having won 14 in a row, and obviously last year everybody knows the big upset that happened on the Scott Gym floor where the Saints took down John Marshall 53-50. They're going to need to play one of their best games of the season if they want to try to repeat that this year. It'll be Stuart Cosby and Latrell Ullman tipping it away as the Justices will have it first.
Certainly a tall task for the Saints here. John Marshall is one of the elite programs in not only the city of Richmond, but the state of Virginia and the East Coast and even the country. They are affiliated with the Team Loaded program, and which is perhaps the top AAU basketball program in all of America. Many of their players play for Team Loaded, and so this is a primetime matchup between the top two teams in the city and an incredibly exciting opportunity for the Saints.
That one goes out of bounds as Darius Gray and Latrell Ullman were wrestling each other down low. There's no shot clock in these games, so the Justices have as long as they want, and they'll fire up a three. It's Ladarius Givens.
And he's about 6'9", maybe 6'10", and so if you're going to have a guy with that size shooting from the perimeter, it's a tall task for the Saints to guard that. But
here's Darius Gray, finds Elijah Brandon. He tries to answer from behind the arc. He can't. And the rebound by the Justices. Here's Given again, guarded by Stuart Cosby. Has about a 4 to 5 inch height advantage. Here's Troy Henderson, recently got recognized for scoring 2,000 points and add 3 more to that total.
And you mentioned the matchup, and John Marshall may have the advantage at several positions, particularly with size and whatnot. But for the Saints, the important thing is just to compete and to do your best. And, early on, you knew John Marshall was going to come out and throw a strong punch, particularly, as Edison said, after what happened last year. So, it's about weathering that first punch and getting into the game and settling in so we can play basketball.
And another three, that one no good. But as you mentioned, last year in the game, John Marshall, with 3 minutes left in the first quarter, was winning 9-0. And the Saints managed to weather that storm. They ended up winning that game by 3 as Darius Gray nearly flies into that first row of fans.
You can see the John Marshall defense. There's a lot of pressure, a lot of active hands. Saints are going to have to be particularly strong with the ball tonight and make crisp passes, meet the ball. All of the things that you practice, it matters in a game like this.
They saw some heavy press from L.C. Bird in the 804 Coaches for Change Classic, but that press they saw from L.C. Bird is not on the same level as what John Marshall is going to be giving them tonight. As here's Stuart Cosby, top of the key, gets it to Darius Gray, and Gray sends Ullman to the floor and lays it in. Here's Ullman on the other end, pulls up over Gray and gets the bounce.
And you see John Marshall's playing at a quick tempo. They're looking to put up points, and so for St. Chris, it's a tough dilemma because you want to play smart, solid, conservative basketball, but you're not going to play scared. You're not going to win playing that way. You have to put points on the board, so we need guys to step up, make plays, and make shots. It's going to be important. That's the only way we're going to have a chance in this game. Edison, you were talking about in last year's matchup, we hit about 10 threes, and so that was the difference. So we're going to have to, step up, make these shots, and not back down.
Yeah, for the Saints, it plays into their benefit if this is a low-scoring game. With all the athleticism that this John Marshall team has, if this game turns into a track meet, it's not a good sign for the Saints. Now here's Darius Gray going inside through a ton of contact from Desmond Rose. Can't finish, and now the Justice is looking to run again. Here's Henderson, gets a screen. Now back out Given. Another open look. That one rims out. Brandon the rebounds. Now Brandon pushing the pace, finds Brady Burnett. He was the hero last night with a massive three from the corner to give the Saints their first lead of the fourth quarter against Collegiate. Got it into Wally Jones, who traveled.
I don't know if you just saw that, but Henderson just smacked the ball after the whistle out of Stuart Cosby's hands. But that's the mentality. They are coming here. They're in their own house, and they're going to they're going to fight John Marshall. So you better come back, and you better be prepared for that. They're going to smack the ball out your hands. They're going to step up into your shirt, and they play a tough brand of basketball.
Especially after what happened last year. This John Marshall team definitely taking St. Christopher's very seriously early. And now Aiden Argabright's going to go inside, gets fouled by Colin Johnson, so 2 free throws coming up.
One of the keys in this game is obviously our star player, Darius Gray. There has not been an answer for him in high school basketball, but with 6'9", 6'8" in the front court with John Marshall, that is about as good of an antidote to the Darius Gray problem.
Latrell Ullman's been really the only player who's been able to consistently stop Gray. In the previous 2 matchups, he's done as good of a job as anyone we've seen guarding him. Obviously, though, Darius Gray of the last 2 years is not the same player we've seen this year. He's taken a whole nother leap to his game, and they're going to get Elijah Brandon on an offensive foul there as he extended his forearm into Aiden Argabright. Here's Troy Henderson, gets in the lane, kicks it back out. Almond, he'll try a 3, no good. And Desmond Rose gets a rebound, might have gotten away with an over the back there, but it'll be Saints ball anyways.
We see a lot of high pick and roll. John Marshall has a very talented guard in Troy Henderson, honored here with over 2,000 points already in his career, still counting. And so you put him in a high ball screen with Given or Allman, that is a quite personnel in the pick and roll.
And when you have people this tall who can shoot this well, it's very hard to cover to pick and roll. And there's a block from Rose. Colin Johnson gets it back, but then has it stripped. And then a wild pass from Henderson stolen by Gray. Finds Brandon open in the corner. No good. Long rebound tapped out, and Rose will control it. Here's Henderson, guarded by Brady Burnett. Gets it inside for Almond. He'll battle Gray. Gray knocks it out, but it'll stay with the Justices.
And I'd expect John Marshall to actually go at Darius on offense, try to get him in foul trouble a little bit. Darius this season has done an amazing job staying out of foul trouble. He has quick hands. He's a smart player. And so, but the Saints are a completely different team if he's on the bench. So we may look for John Marshall to go at him a little bit in ways that other teams have not been able to.
Now here's Argabright, kicks it back out to Given. Now inside for Allman, he'll go right back at Gray. Gray goes straight up and blocks the shot. Great defense in the post from Darius Gray.
Wow. And then we see him bringing the ball up the floor. I'd expect Coach Jones to get Darius Gray in different positions. We've seen throughout the season, Darius on the low block, dribbling up top like just there, and also in the high post. And that is Saints offense right there. Run through Darius Gray, guys come in and make them pay. And Edison, we're over halfway here in the first quarter, and you know, like we knew John Marshall was going to come out with a lot of energy and probably get out to a lead, but you know, we're settled in, and he's got to watch out with that arm.
That might have been a bit of a flop there. Now here's Darius Gray, kicks it back over to Brandon. Now Colin Johnson.
This is the time where you've felt the game, you've gotten your feet wet, and it's time for our guys to start making some plays.
Here's Brady Burnett. As a reminder, no shot clock in this game, and Coach Jones not happy with what he sees. He's going to call a timeout. Saints trail 13-5 with 2:23 to go in the first quarter. Hello and welcome back. Saints trail by 8 early. Here's Elijah Brandon over to Darius Gray. Thought about a three. He'll drive instead. And he traveled. Not the start the Saints wanted out of the timeout. Here's Troy Henderson, hands it off to Almond. Driving on Burnett. Almond has a large height advantage here over Brady Burnett. Steps back over him. That was some pretty good defense from Brady, but just better shot making from Almond.
That's incredibly high level skill for a player that size. And that's why he has offers from all over the country.
And now Gray loses it. He's on the floor. They're gonna get Gray for a foul there.
You see John Marshall taking us out of our offense. That defensive pressure, they're not even letting us get into our sets. I think St. Chris will probably make the adjustment of trying to find different ways of entry, probably throwing it into the post to lift up and then getting into our offense that way. But we're going to have to start getting creative to get into our sets.
The majority of the Saints offense this year has been created by Darius Gray post-ups, and we've only seen maybe one or two of those this game. One of them resulted in a basket. The other one resulted in a Stuart Cosby three-pointer. But they've had a very hard time getting into Darius, and that's hurt them so far early. So now here's Henderson, guarded by Burnett, kicks it to the corner. Rose for three. Too strong. Rebound Gray. He wants to push the tempo, finds Cosby. Stuart Cosby gets inside, lays it in. Last year in the game over John Marshall, he was crucial. Hit 5 threes, that was where all of his 15 points came from. The double off in the corner, it leaves Isaiah Carter open, but he can't take advantage. Now the Saints looking to go fast again. Here's Colin Johnson in the corner. Brady Burnett, quick release. No good.
And John Marshall has plenty of guys who can shoot, and the three-point shot, what a take there.
That's a
tough player.
It's a very impressive finish there from Troy Henderson. And now Brandon on the other end. That's his second offensive foul already.
Look, basketball, you can bump. You can bump, but it's got to be with the shoulder. The minute you start throwing that forearm out there, that's an easy call. But what I was saying with the three-point shot, John Marshall's shooting a surprising number of threes, given that their size advantage. And on one hand, they have a lot of talented shooters, so we have to get out there. But I'd almost rather have them shooting from further out there because the rebounds, they're not able to get the rebounds as easily. And they have such a size advantage that if they're taking shots from closer in, they can easily get those rebounds. But when they're shooting from further out, we have a better chance because the rebounds are longer.
An interesting look for the Saints here. They're going to go with a two-big lineup, Darius Gray and Nate Roberts. I don't think they've shared the floor once this year. But with the size advantage John Marshall has, Coach Jones puts both of them on at the same time. And now the Saints can hold for the final shot, trailing 17-7. Gray has it at the top of the key, gets a screen from Stuart Cosby. Pressure comes over to Cosby. He'll try a three. No good. Rebound Roberts, can't control it. And they're going to call at the end of the quarter.
So that shot didn't go in. I like that look. We might be able to get that matchup moving forward, that high ball screen with Darius and Stewart.
So Saints trail 17-7 after a quarter. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Hello and welcome back. St. Christopher's will have it to start off the second period, down 17-7.
Edison, I think we're in a pretty solid spot overall. I think it's pretty similar, as we were talking about, to last year's, how the game played out. John Marshall early on came out, swung. We got off to a big deficit. Then once we got our feet wet, we settled in. We started getting into our stuff. We locked in on defense, and the game turned around. But, of course, last year we had that guy sitting over there who's over at VCU right now, Brandon Jennings. We don't have the luxury of having that talent right now, but we do have Darius Gray.
And that's a goaltend.
We do have Darius Gray.
Yeah.
And so we can unlock him and find a way to get him going and control games as he has all season. I think we can at least keep within striking distance, and once you're within striking distance, anything can happen.
You know, with Brandon in the building, maybe the Saints can try to find some way to get a COVID year for him and get him on the court tonight.
Oh, that would be nice. That would be amazing.
Now here's Troy Henderson inside for Given. Goes up. Thought it was blocked by Roberts, but they're going to call a foul.
And we went zone there. I think coach is just trying to give John Marshall different looks. You don't want, if you give anyone, you know, we play a very strong man-to-man defense, but you give any good team a steady diet of anything, they can get used to it. So I think we can expect Coach Jones to mix up the defenses a little bit to keep John Marshall off balance.
Given hits the first. And missed the second. Rebound, Gray. Inside, Roberts left all alone. Goes up and lays it in.
Great find by Darius right there. And I think Darius playing the point really changes the dynamic of this game. The ball pressure that John Marshall wants to put on Elijah, Brandon, Brady from their guards, they're not going to be able to do that if Darius is handling the ball.
There's Aiden Arbright, no good. Long rebound out to them. Now Troy Henderson tries a three. Missed it again. Burnett gets shoved down by Rose. That's going to be the first foul on John Marshall of this game. Now that whistle came in a bit late. It looked like they might have gotten away with it for a second, but once that whistle did come in, Rose had no protest. Now here's Stuart Cosby. Finds Nate Roberts. Hands it off to Cosby. He'll drive on Given. Kicks it back out to Colin Johnson. Johnson. Cosby for three in the corner. It's good. Boom. His second of the game. And now someone just got a technical. They're going to get
Edison. I want to say I get it by the refs. You want to keep the game clean, but if guys are going to talk, guys are going to talk.
Yeah.
And that's part of the game. You hit a three and you have something to say. I mean, it goes both ways. So I just like, if there's going to be any talking, we should shut it down early, and it should be going both ways, because I don't think Stewie's the only one talking.
Yeah.
But I think it's part of the game, unless, you know, you want to keep the game clean, but I think it's part of the game. But
we don't know.
I understand trying to keep it clean.
We don't know what was said, but Stuart Cosby definitely not the type of person who would say something that would be a slam dunk technical.
Yeah. And, well, we talked about where we were at the end of the first quarter, and right now we look like we've settled in. We're start making shots. It's 19-14. We're right where we want to be, and so I think it starts on the defensive end for us, and we're right now in zone, and we're going to have to rebound the ball out of the zone.
Allman screaming for a lob, and he slams it home.
And we're not going to call that. We're not going to call that a technical. You see what I'm saying? If we're going to call a technical on Stuart Cosby saying something in the corner, then I think we might want to call a technical for throwing the ball at somebody and saying a whole bunch of stuff after a dunk. That's just me. Yeah. I think we got to do it both ways. Edison, we got to have it both ways. But we are in John Marshall's gym, and apparently this is where justice is served.
Yep. And Almond can't finish it off. So 21-14, Gray bulldozes Rose. And
we see Darius right now, the effect of this trash talk, we see the competitiveness picking up. We can see it coming out of Darius. He's ready to go. He's saying y'all can't guard me.
I don't think there was anything Rose could have done to prevent Gray from getting to the hoop there. I think he was determined that no matter what, he was going inside full steam, and Rose's options were either take the contact or let him go.
And so after that dunk, Edison, that has the chance to a highlight play like that has the chance to unravel your team. It's only 2 points, and that's something the coach stressed. A dunk is only worth 2 points. How many dunks have there been for St. Chris so far this season?
None.
0. And we're 14-1. Okay? So a dunk is only worth 2 points, but it can be worth so much more if you let it. But it's about staying locked in and staying in the moment. Good hands.
Out of bounds. That's going to be off Henderson.
It's off his leg.
This game just has a different feeling than the ones of the last two. After what happened last year, there's definitely some bad blood between these two teams. And in what was a massive upset at the time last year, John Marshall, even though it wouldn't be as much of an upset this year with how good the St. Christopher's team is, they're definitely the favorites. They're on their home floor. This is a game they really want to win to get back at the Saints for last year. And now Cosby gets it over to Gray. Almond right up on him. Gray gets inside, lays it in. Tough finish from Darius Gray.
I don't care what offers Almond has. Darius Gray gets it done on the basketball court.
In the corner, here's Isaiah Carter, and he stepped out.
And
never mind, they're going to call a foul.
After last year's game, John Marshall called St. Chris and said, we want you. We want to play again. So we got it on the schedule. This didn't even really work out for us. And we had a game last night. We said, all right, we'll make it happen. You want it? We got it.
Yep.
We got it. You got it. So that's what it is. That's part of this game, and it's the rivalry goes back because John Marshall's been the top team in the city for a long time, and St. Chris has built their program up, and so this is just good competitive high school basketball.
Yeah, right now the Times-Dispatch has these two teams, number 1 and number 2 in the city, and John Marshall currently ranked number 1 in the state, St. Christopher's number 4.
And I'll add that it is smoking hot in here.
My
it might
goodness.
be 85 degrees.
It is very hot in this building. Last night in Scott Gym, it was freezing in there. Completely different environment now. It is hot and humid in here.
It is smoking. And, well, it could be said that it could be done for, it's freezing outside. So I don't know how they got this gym this hot. But
neither do I.
One theory is you're trying to get the big fella to cramp. But he's in a different shape than he was last year. He's trimmed down. He's not going to cramp. He's hydrated. He's ready to go.
And there's an offensive foul called somewhere.
Well, I'll put conspiracy theories aside. I won't say anything more on that.
So 21-16 after John Marshall got out to an early 8-0 lead. The Saints have weathered that storm. And the lead down to 5. Now Gray gets in the lane, kicks it out. Cosby tries again. Left it short. Rebound. Harrison Miller goes up. Can't finish off the second effort.
I think that's really what our offense is probably going to. Oh, no.
And there's a 3. That's going to be an and 1. Aiden Argabright. So those are the types of plays that can swing momentum. An and 1 3. So Argabright finishes off a 4-point play.
We talked about that with Chance Mallory, Edison. When you have players shooting threes and they're kicking their legs out, it's really difficult.
Brady Burnett gets hit in the head on that drive. Somehow no foul called. But then Nate Roberts will get 2 free throws. One of the best traits about Brady Burnett's game is he is fearless on the court. Last night against Collegiate, he hadn't hit a shot going into the last minute of the game, and then he hits the biggest shot of the night, that three-pointer in the corner right in front of the student section to give the Saints their first lead of the fourth quarter. And then right there, you just saw him drive, even though he's maybe 6'1", you just saw him drive on two guys who have 7 or 8 inches on him.
And that drive created the opportunity for Roberts to get in there and get the rebound. Excellent job by Roberts to be there and to go up strong. But Brady is someone who, he plays for Team Loaded, and so he's been in this gym. He's played with these guys, so he's not going to be scared. He's seen this before.
And Roberts 2 for 2 at the line. Elijah Brandon will check in for Harrison Miller. Brandon has to be careful. He's on 2 fouls. Both of them have come on the offensive end. Here's Henderson. Kicks it back out. Argabright gets inside. Cameron Claiborne missed it. Rebound
Great
controlled
job
by Roberts.
The Saints there boxing out. You got guys crashing in from all angles. These are high flyers, and we put a body on them and get the rebound. That's what it's about.
Here's Brandon and some contact underneath. They're going to get
3 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe that is the call. Here's Claiborne, kicks it out. Henderson barely able to control that pass. Now Isaiah Carter, Aiden Argabright falling away. Shot is good.
He's a very talented player. Nice looking shot.
Here's Elijah Brandon. Driving, can't find any room. And Allman takes it away from Darius Gray. Allman goes inside. Gray's just going to foul him. And Coach Jones will take a timeout. Saints trail by 9 with 3:40 to go in the second quarter. Welcome back out of the timeout. Saints trail 27-18. Latrell Almond will be at the line for 2 free throws. And he hits the first, lead up to a game-high 10 for the Justices. And 2 for 2 at the line.
And these big guys shoot like guards for them. It's really amazing, their level of skill for their size. But Edison, we're talking about we just see them taking us out of our offense. We're trying to run stuff, but they're just into our shirts, forcing us way further out than we want to go.
And
wow.
Not much you can do to guard that. Oh, never mind. They're going to call an offensive foul?
No, they called a travel.
Oh, travel.
Look, and
that one no good from the corner from Argabright. Here's Elijah Brandon. Over to Stuart Cosby. Cosby tried to find Burnett underneath. He couldn't. Now out to Gray on the wing.
Gotta look in.
Darius Gray gets in the lane, goes up strong, too strong on that shot. Isaiah Carter over to Almond. Allman pulls up from 3. It's good. Latrell Allman. And it's going to be a long 2. So 31-18. Gray bulldozes inside. That's an offensive foul.
That's his second. Oh, that's his third. That's his third, Edison.
Foul trouble for Darius Gray is the one thing that could not happen to the Saints this game.
We talked about foul trouble for him early and how St. Chris has not really had to face Darius being in foul trouble before. So this is uncharted territory and this is a real danger zone these last 22 minutes and 24 seconds, Edison. We had made the game in a 5-point game, I think even a 3-point game at one point.
Yeah.
And now we're looking 13 without our star player. And so this is real critical to keep this lead right around here, 10-13.
Here's Brady Burnett taking it up. Gavin Johnson gets it over to Colin. And a lot of contact there, but they're going to finally get Troy Henderson on a foul.
It's about time, Edison. There's been a lot of hand activity on defense. And now John Marshall, you give them credit because they have quick feet, and you can see them moving their feet. But a lot of hand activity. And at some point, if you're St. Chris, you're going to have to figure out a way you got to find someone who can handle the ball, handle this pressure, and use their pressure against them. Can we get some backdoor cuts? Can we get someone to pop out and just rip and go?
And that's what you don't want to see there. 2 missed free throws. Now on the other end, Isaiah Carter from the corner. No good. That's going to be off. His legs kept in bounds. And Allman goes up over Cosby for a tough finish. Here's Burnett, runs into a double team, gets it over to Colin Johnson. Johnson inside Gavin Johnson. Reverse, no good. Saints just not getting the bounces early. And now Carter, it's good. Just like that, the lead is ballooned to 18 for John Marshall. And I think Coach Jones has seen enough of the Darius Gray-less minutes. He's already ready to come back in. And now Roberts on the other end, goes up, shot blocked by Allman.
And you see how fast it happens, Edison. They get a stop, and they're up the court scoring in a flash.
In these last 6 or so minutes, we're seeing exactly why this John Marshall team won the national championship 2 years ago and why they're one of the best teams in the country.
That's his third personal. Number 4, Isaiah Carter shooting for the Justices.
Nate Roberts will come out. He's had a very good performance so far this game. As Gray and Brandon both come back in. Something that'll be crucial for the Saints is Gray cannot pick up another foul before the break. 3 is manageable, but 4 at the half is a bit too far. And now they'll find Gray at the top of the key. He'll drive on Allman, nothing there. Out to Burnett. Brady Burnett going right at Claiborne. Burnett spinning, gets in the lane, floater, good.
That's a real tough move, Edison. He was playing really good defense. He spun, got his back on him, and gets the shot to go. What a move by Brady Burnett.
And Gray just rips that one out of the hands of Allman. Saints have a 2-on-1. Gray goes up and lays it in. Did a good job there to avoid a charge as Isaiah Carter was ready to sacrifice himself.
That's a bold move, taking the charge on Darius Gray. I give him credit. But if we can get a stop here, we are in okay position.
Argerbright kicks it over to Claiborne. Clock down to 3. Claiborne gets in the lane. That's going to be a jump ball. Great defense from Brady Burnett there. all year he has just been so good on the perimeter. Generally, the Saints have trusted him to go at the number one guard on the other team, and he's always been up to the assignment.
He's a competitor. And so we can look here. They may be lobbing something up to the rim, and yep, that's what they're looking to do.
So
but the ball hasn't been passed in yet. They just ran their play without the ball.
So 1.3 to go in the first half. 37-22 the score. Henderson, the inbounder. Over to Rose, has to hoist. It's good!
Oh my gosh.
I mean, that was great defense on the inbound there. Just phenomenal shot making by Desmond Rose. So far, John Marshall showing why they're one of the best teams in the country. They lead by 18 at the break. Hello and welcome back. Before this second half gets ready to go, Mr. Lucky asked me to shout out his uncle up in Eugene, Oregon. We know he's a big watcher of our streams. We really appreciate it. I was accepted to Oregon. I might go there, weighing my options. But obviously him being up in Eugene, that's really cool that he watches our streams from all the way across the country. So coming back here, Saints trailing 40-22. You know, they didn't even play bad in that first half. John Marshall just played a flawless half of basketball. Here's Stuart Cosby, and three-pointer rims out. And that pretty much sums up this game so far for the Saints. They're doing a lot of things right, but John Marshall's just so good that they've struggled either way. As now Darius Given gonna go to the line for two.
Yeah, Edison, you said it well. John Marshall, we knew coming into the game that they had a whole lot of talent, and we've seen this talent on display. We were looking up some of the offers that some of these guys have, and big-time college basketball players on this floor, SEC, A-10.
Yeah.
And so, you know, for the Saints, I think it's just it's clearly a mismatch. But I think if we can compete and stay in the game, anything can happen. And we just are looking for the guys to compete hard and do the best that they can.
Yeah, this John Marshall team has 4 D1 players. Given will be going to Mississippi State next year. Troy Henderson will be going to Fordham. Aiden Argabright will be going to Richmond. And then Latrell Almond hasn't committed yet, but he has offers from all over the SEC. Now here's Brandon left alone, top of the key. His three is good. Pretty good start offensively for the Saints this quarter. They've gotten 2 good looks from behind the arc. One of them went in, obviously that one from Brandon, and then Cosby had one that just missed. But now Almond looks to answer, and he does.
Darius got it down low, and we haven't seen John Marshall throw too many guys at him. They've been playing one-on-one with Darius most of the night, so it was a little bit surprising for them to send 3 guys at him right there. But if they're going to do that, we got to make them pay.
Now Cosby gets in the lane, falling away, gets it to go.
And we talked about St. Chris. Their defense this year has been outstanding. It's been pretty much their calling card, their half-court defense. But there's only so much you can do against a great offensive team. And so it is the case that while we do want to maintain our defensive intensity, it's going to be paramount that we score some points. That's the only way we're going to stay in this game. We've got to make shots. We've got to put some points on the board. So, and here John Marshall's just letting Darius go one-on-one. And he is going to score that if it's just one-on-one.
Yeah, not very often you see a team willingly let Darius Gray go one-on-one, but John Marshall, maybe the only team the Saints will play this year that has the bodies to do that. There's Almond with 2 more points, and now John Marshall will take a timeout. They lead 47-29. Back out of the timeout. These 2 teams have both picked it up on the offensive end. But the problem for the Saints is that while they've been scoring this half, so has John Marshall. They've traded buckets, and they've kept the lead at 18. Both teams having scored 7 this quarter. Over to Brady Burnett now. Burnett drives on Given, gets inside, shot blocked. And now Troy Henderson looking to run. Kicks it to the corner. Argabright, his 3, too strong. But Given had a good look, but just rushed it a bit. Now Cosby on the other end, up and under, blocked by Almond again. Here's Argabright, gets in the lane, fouled pretty hard by Burnett.
Argerbright had it on the fast break, or Henderson had it rather, in the last possession, and he had Allman running with him. He had Argerbright on the wing. It's just you have too many options on this team. It's tough for the Saints to stop everything.
And that free throw no good.
I said at halftime to Edison that I think probably the only way St. Chris is going to come back and win this game is if that guy over there, Brandon Jennings, gets up and puts on a jersey. I mean, he was such a difference maker last year. That arm with EB is something. He's got called for it twice.
Yeah.
And it's still
nearly picked up
prominent.
a third. And that's pretty uncharacteristic of him. The only Saint who's really ever picked up any offensive fouls this year is Darius Gray, and a lot of those offensive fouls maybe aren't the right call, but they just aren't effective. The defender getting bulldozed.
But in last year's game, Brandon was, he's such an incredible player, but he was able to really make a difference not on both ends, just controlling the game. And wow.
That's a tough shot from Darius Gray there for the and one.
I will note that there is potential here for a little bit of a comeback because you can kind of sense, Edison, John Marshall's a little bit more slack than they were if you remember how they came out of the game. And they're still talented. They still may make shots. But to me, their intensity and their focus has dipped a little bit, which is natural when you're up by 17, now 16 points. But
yeah, especially on the defensive end.
Yeah.
And now here's Cosby. It's
Boom.
Good. Lead down to 13. And they're going to get Burnett on a foul there. So the Saints not going away. The lead been as high as 19 for John Marshall.
And Edison's phone has landed on the DJ table and is spinning on the disc.
Thank you to the John Marshall DJ who just picked that up for me. Luckily, we have no damage. We're good.
What music would we hear if it started playing from your phone? That's my question.
I don't know. As now here's Latrell Allman. He'll try a three. No good. Roberts, tough rebound. And he's going to draw a foul.
Great job by Roberts.
Roberts checked in for Burnett, who picked up his third. Now on the other end, Roberts all alone. Didn't have time to get a shot up. Finds Johnson in the corner. His three-pointer, no good. That one would have really got momentum going back the Saints' way. Would have cut the lead down to 10. Now here's Henderson. Gets in the lane, kicks it out. Rose a three-pointer, no good. Allman the board, and he'll go to the line for two. That'll be number 3 on Nate Roberts, too. The Saints really struggling with foul trouble. Burnett's on 3. Gray on 3, and and Burnett on 3. And
it's so difficult, Edison. I mean, Aldwell is obviously 6'8", and he can jump too. But Roberts is doing the best he can. I'd say this: the best way you take a jumper's jumping from them is go right into their knees. Not dirty, but you boxing out. Take it. Yeah. No one can jump without their knees. I've never seen anyone jump without their knees ever.
Yeah.
So, what is the call? What is going on here, Edison?
I think they just got Colin Johnson on a technical, maybe.
For what?
Good question.
Technical foul has been issued to number 24. Allman, that's his first personal foul.
No, they're going to get Allman's.
Oh.
So the technical was on Almond. I believe the foul they assigned to Johnson was the shooting foul, which that's good for the Saints. I believe that was only Johnson's first. Would have been number 3 on Roberts had the call been on him. Allman goes 2 for 2 at the line. Now the Saints will get their technical free throws, and they'll get the ball back.
I'll give John Marshall credit, too. Also, they have so much talent, and sometimes it can be really hard to synthesize all that talent.
Yeah,
and they do a really good job of sharing the ball and playing together. It's a real testament to their coaching staff and how they have a lot of experience bringing talented teams together.
Yeah.
So.
You know, that was something, the first team that comes to mind last year was Bishop O'Connell. Going into that game, that team was vastly more talented than St. Christopher's, but they just didn't look like 5 players who had ever played together. They looked like it was preseason, and they were 5 new players who had just been brought in, and that was how, even though being the less talented team, the Saints pulled off a 44-41 win on the road in the state tournament, as there's Stuart Cosby falling away. Can't get it to go, and given skies in for the rebound, using all 6'9" of that frame. Now in the corner, Henderson, it's good.
I mean, we're in high school basketball. You're going to see 6'10" guy sky in, get a rebound, push it on the break, and find a shooter. I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
It's such high-level basketball.
So third quarter halfway gone. Saints take a timeout. We'll be back. Hello and welcome back. 53-37 your score. The Saints were getting back into it for a little bit, had the ball down 13. Cosby left all alone in the corner, and Allman sends that one into the front row. That reminds me of the 2019 Virginia-Duke game. Zion Williamson had a block on DeAndre Hunter in the corner. It was very similar to that, where he just comes in out of nowhere and sends it into the front row. As now Darius Gray would not be denied entry into the lane, but it's going to be out of bounds.
I'll say this too. Stuart Cosby was open, and Johnson had the ball on the wing and took an extra dribble instead of just quickly getting it to him. And right afterwards, Stuart was very upset. He said, "Give me the ball," and then he went right back to him and said, "No, it's all right. It's all right." And that's what being a good teammate is. And these are good shot by EB. But that's what you get. You know, these guys have been going to school with each other for 10 years.
There's a three from Brandon. Carter tried to answer. He couldn't. Saints have pulled the lead back down to 13. They are not out of this game yet. As Brandon gets in the lane, goes up through a ton of contact. He is shocked there's no foul. And, yeah, that was a bad miss, and it turns into a three for John Marshall on the other end.
That is terrible. EB did a good job coming to a jump stop, giving him a pump fake. He bit on it, and he went right through him. That's a foul.
Yeah, that was a missed call there, and turns into 3 points the other way on the break. Brandon gets back in the lane. That time they finally call a foul. You know, every time the Saints have punched in this game, John Marshall's responded. I mean, they had the ball down 13 there. They were starting to get back into this game, and then Troy Henderson on the other end goes down and hits a three. Now Brandon at the line for two. He hits the first.
It's a big-time response by EB in this half. He was struggling a little bit in the first half, and he's come out here and played with composure. He's made shots, and he's been much more under control. He's been a big reason why we've been able to hang around in this game.
And Colin Johnson reaches in, nearly knocks it away from Henderson. He keeps it, though. Now over to Given. Swings it to the corner. Carter, a three. It's good.
And we're playing a triangle in 2, trying to give John Marshall,
And
trying to give John Marshall a different look. And they just have so many weapons.
Yeah, not great shot selection there by Argabright. Was falling away out of bounds and just threw it. And now he'll get it on the other end. Nice pass inside for Given. He takes a hard fall as he got tripped up.
Yeah, we're trying to take Henderson and Argabright out of the picture with that triangle in 2. And Desmond Rose stepped up and made that shot. And you still have to contend with Allman and Given. So usually you play a triangle in 2 against a team with only 2 top players. And so, I mean, frankly, everyone is a top player on John Marshall. Like, you put any of these guys on another team, and they're their top player. Yeah. So it's a pick your poison.
So with that foul, Colin Johnson is fouled out.
Good foul, Colin. They say you get 5 fouls, and he used all of them.
He did.
And he used them well.
And saved the Saints a point there as Given only goes 1 for 2 at the line. Now here's Brandon, look to push the pace. Darius Gray drives on Almond. Back out to Brandon. He'll pull a 3. No good. Long rebound out to Almond. Now Given from the free throw line gets it to fall.
Man, these guys look like pros. I mean, it's clockwork.
I mean, some of these guys, obviously, as we mentioned, going to play in the SEC.
And when that's a pro, too.
Yeah.
In another sport, he's still a pro.
Yeah, he might be going into the SEC for a different sport. A lot of rumors of him going to South Carolina, potentially. Frank Beamer just signed an extension. We know he's been going very hard after Darius Gray to play offensive guard. And there's Ladarius Given. Dangerous pass from Brandon Gray. Will pull up from 3. It's good.
The bank is open. Saturday night.
Now Burnett takes some contact, but Henderson steps back and hits the 3.
Wow. Just such talent on the floor. It's a real joy to watch the high-level play.
This team is just incredible, and they'll stay with the Saints. Here's Brandon. Over to Gray. Darius Gray. Nice backdoor to Burnett. He'll lay it in.
Great setup, great call, and great delivery.
You know, the best part about this St. Christopher's team is a lot of this core still has a lot of time here. Brandon and Gray, only juniors. Burnett, only a sophomore. Let's see, Cosby and Jones, 2 of the 5 starters, are seniors, but
goodness gracious.
Cameron Claiborne.
It's raining from everywhere, Edison. I don't know what to say. I mean, we're playing about as well as we can play, and it's raining from everywhere on the court.
John Marshall showing why they're the best team in the state. I mean, this St. Christopher's team ranked number 2 in the city of Richmond, number 4 in the state, and John Marshall just putting on a clinic right now. So we'll be back in a few minutes. Saints trail by 22 going into the 4th. Hello and welcome back. John Marshall just putting on an absolute masterclass offensively right now. Everything is going down for the Justices. That'll be number 4 on Darius Gray.
I think you just let it ride. I mean, there's no point in putting him on the bench.
Yeah. And
that's
he's going to be done.
You just fouled him out on that. Get out of town.
And
you're terrible.
Coach Jones is going to get a technical.
If you can hear the voices behind us, they're saying what a lot of us are thinking.
Yeah, Saints not happy with how this game's been officiated. I mean, with how they've called this game, I don't think that's a foul. The first one is good from Henderson. 2 for 2. And Brandon flies in for the steal. He gets grabbed by Argabright. Not sure where the foul was there, but it's going to be staying with the Saints either way. It went off the foot of Argabright.
Well, 24-point game. Here in the fourth quarter, we just hope that we cannot let this thing get too out of hand.
Yeah. What's most important completely is not having anyone get injured. And
what's going on?
A fan jumped up, said something to the refs. Now they're going over to talk to the... I'm not sure if something was said. I think a fan might be getting thrown out.
Who?
The guy... Yeah, it looks like that guy in the red shirt standing up over there might have his night cut short. I'm not sure what is going on.
If you weren't terrible.
And Coach Lewis goes over to calm him down. Security coming over now, and yeah, that fan's night is done. Not sure what happened there. So
You had that one saved in your back pocket, didn't you?
Okay, basketball continues. I think, I think that was just a conflict of words.
yeah, not sure what happened. Weirdly enough, not the first time we've seen a fan get thrown out at a Saints game this year. Happened at the 804 Coaches for Change Classic. That was an opposing fan. Not sure who the alliances fell with there. And now in the corner, Henderson again. Why not? I mean, everything John Marshall throws up is going down. Now Brandon will step back, tries to answer. He can't. Roberts rips down the rebound, finds Burnett in the corner, thought about a three, and he gets whacked in the face by Henderson.
Foul is issued to number 2, Henderson. That's his second personal. Team first.
For the Saints, they've got a lot of big games coming up. They're in the midst of a brutal stretch right now with 4 games in 5 days. Beat Collegiate last night. Obviously, this game tonight against John Marshall, and then they get Sunday off. And then Monday, they have Catholic at Scott Gym, and then Tuesday, they've got Fuma. So a tough stretch right now. And, maybe with the deficit being as high, it plays to the Saints' advantage for Monday, as obviously you don't want to lose a game, but getting a chance to rest some of these starters will definitely help them weather the storm of having those 4 games in 5 days. And Kevin Johnson's shot denied by Almond. Burnett has it ripped away, but he's going to be fouled by Albright.
I think this game is beneficial in several ways for the Saints. I think you're not going to see a team, as you said, Edison, that's better than this. So it prepares you because, well, one, once you get into the state tournament, once you've seen teams like this, you feel like you can play with anyone. There's nothing that you haven't seen. And so from that standpoint, it's beneficial. And also, once you get into prep league and states, you're going to have to play multiple games in multiple days. So it's a preparation for that. But, you know, we've had such a successful season. It's been such a amazing ride thus far. And we're only about the halfway point. So this is a moment where, you know, it didn't really go our way this night. We faced a team that was, you know, much more talented. And, you know, it's a chance for us to regroup and to learn from it and get better, because a lot of times it's the case that when you win, you know, you're supposed to win equally from wins and losses. But when you win, sometimes it's, you know, it's hard to learn from those because you won, and so you think you did everything well. And so when you lose, it's an opportunity to really look at what you didn't do well and the ways you can improve.
Yeah, the Saints have a lot of big games coming up. Next week they've got Catholic and then Fuma, which Catholic might be tough. Fuma not so much, as they already beat them by about 40 earlier this year. And then Friday they welcome Trinity to Scott Gym. They've already beaten the Titans twice so far this year, once on the road, once at a neutral site. But obviously in those rivalry games, anything can happen. We saw that last night with Collegiate. The Saints, on paper, were the better team, but the Cougars took them right down to the wire. And then the week after that, they welcome Benedictine to Scott Gym. They've already beaten the Cadets once this year, but as we mentioned a moment ago, in those rivalry games, you can throw everything that's happened so far in the season out the window. And then they've got Woodbury at home. And then the final week of the season, they have games at Stab, and that's the big one, as the winner of that game likely will take the #1 seed in the Prep League. And then that Friday, they have Collegiate on the road to end their season, as there's a turnover from the Saints.
I would expect John Marshall to go deep into their bag of tricks.
Yeah.
Alley-oops, and you'll see some players do some things that are probably pretty highlight-worthy. But,
you know, back in 2022 when these two teams met, excuse me, it was 2023 at that point. It was February of that year. John Marshall, even though they won that game by 42 points, did not pull the starters until maybe the last 20 seconds of that game.
There they go.
And Almond, probably the easiest look he had tonight, couldn't get it to fall. And now Jones on the floor, and it's another 3 for Aiden Argabright.
Well, St. Chris and John Marshall have had many, many good games over the last decade plus. I know even before I was playing, there was the teams with Nick and Rodney Williams, and, you know, played against John Marshall, won one, lost one. Then when I played against them my freshman year in the Times-Dispatch, we lost. And then we came here in 2015 and beat them on their senior night, which was a big win. And then obviously last year's team with Brandon and got it done. So, you know, it's, you know, they have a really special program, but we do too. And so, you know, I think we do it in a little bit different of a way. We're not, you know, as much in the AAU scene and whatnot, but, you know, you talk about the 804 basketball and the top teams, it's really these two programs right here.
And now here, Given tries to go for an incredible poster, and, you know, this has been one of the slowest moving quarters of basketball I've watched.
Yeah. I had the chance to sit in on the pregame walkthrough before this game, and just the attention to detail that Coach Jones and the staff, Coach Churchwell, that they had, and just the preparation. You know, Coach Jones just does an amazing job having these guys prepared, and it's no coincidence that the team is having the season that they're having. It's a lot of hard work from the players, but also the coaches who sacrifice a lot and put a lot into this team and this program.
Yeah, the game last year, we were talking about this during halftime. While the players put on a great performance, the Saints don't win that game without an incredible game plan from Coach Jones last year. I mean, that was another game like we've seen tonight where they were clearly not the more talented team. But Coach Jones got them prepared to out-hustle John Marshall, and then his game plan worked to perfection. And another foul. This is 10 fouls called in 3 minutes of basketball. This is between the 10 fouls and then the guy getting thrown out of the game. This has been a long quarter.
And, you know, sports are supposed to be an education at this level. You know, you're supposed to learn something. And so just the JV guys were in here playing before us, before the varsity. And so I hope it was a score similar to this, but for all the Saints players, it's, you know, there's going to be situations that are very difficult, overwhelming. And so just the experience, this is stuff you don't get in a classroom, walking into these kinds of environments and being out in front of people and facing this challenge and adversity. And so it's a life lesson that, because you really only have two options. You can say, okay, well, you know, this is a difficult situation. I don't have a chance, so I'm not going to try, and I'm going to just bow down. And so, you know, what I've seen from this team tonight is really, a competitive streak. And, you know, even though you don't get the outcome that you may desire, you can at least be proud of the effort. And so I think that's just important for the guys to remember and to keep it in perspective.
Yeah, and, I mean, even in what was a 30-point game, you saw earlier the Saints still diving on the floor for loose balls. That's the type of culture that Coach Jones has instilled here, that no matter what the score is, players are going to give their everything for all 32 minutes of this game. And Claiborne going to go right at Burnett. Those two have been friendly, going back and forth all game. You know, Brady was laughing at him to attack him right there while he was holding the ball.
Yeah, he said, come on, come at me. Show me something.
I assume those two have played together at some other level.
It's one thing to say it to one, though. It's another thing to say it to Henderson.
And Suskin can't hit the free throw.
Well, I'll also say it's very special. This is my last game on doing the broadcast, but it's very special for me to see some of these seniors, because I remember them when I was coming up in high school. They were like the middle school guys and whatnot. So to see them, you know, at their senior year and having the year that they're having is really special to watch.
Yeah.
There's a picture that Miss Davila has that she sent me where we won the Rebel Invitational. It's like 5 or 6 of these guys on this team, and they're with us in the picture, but they're like at our waists.
Yeah.
They're like in the 3rd grade or 4th grade. But that's just the special part of St. Chris where.
Yeah, I remember being in 4th or 5th grade and getting to the collegiate game like an hour early with one of my friends to get the seats front row right at midcourt.
Oh, wow, yeah.
You guys won that game. I remember you came back, won by like 4. The game was awesome. And
I was playing?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay, wow.
Yeah. I think we would have been in like 4th or 5th grade at that point.
Wow.
You graduated in what, 2017?
2017,
yeah. So, yeah, your senior year would have been when I was in 4th grade.
Wow, yeah. That sounds about right. It happens fast.
Yeah. And they're going to put Harrison Miller at the line. Another foul.
Yep. But.
And Elijah Brandon's is going to take a seat. His day likely done.
I'm proud of EB, just his second half that he had. Struggled in that first half, but he really battled back in the second. It just, this, you know, showing resilience is really important. But as I was saying with the seniors like Stuart Cosby Harrison at the free throw line, Susskind in the game, Zach Davila, Wally Jones. I mean, the whole group, Gavin Johnson, Colin Johnson. I remember all these guys growing up. It's super cool to see.
So John Marshall has had no intentions of slowing things down, even holding on to a 25-point lead at the moment. Isaiah Carter gets it in. Ladarius Given goes right at Cosby. Goes up over him. Good defense from Cosby. Given's shot well strong. And Burnett brings it up. He pulls from way outside. Left is short, but we'll call it a pass to Charlie Suskind. And Suskind goes up over Given. No good. Now Given pushing the pace. Back out, Cameron Claiborne. Saints looking ready to empty their bench. And another foul is called.
I wish all the best for these talented John Marshall players as well. They have very bright futures. And good job by these guys checking out right here. Brady Burnett, Stuart Cosby, Susskind, Harrison Miller. Yeah, great job competing tonight, guys.
Yeah, as you mentioned, it's one thing to have a talented roster. It's another thing to have a talented roster that plays together like this.
Yeah.
And, you know, in a game where even if you have more talent, if your team is just 5 guys out there instead of a team, it's not going to go as far as you could have. And John Marshall does such a great job at both combining talent and then also gelling that team together, and that they can produce results like this. I mean, they were the national champion 2 years ago. You see all those banners hanging up there. Ty White certainly knows how to run a program. And another foul called.
Yeah, but, you know, Henderson, Aldwell, all these guys, you know, they have bright futures. I hope they work hard and stay focused because they have a lot of talent. So I just hope they make the most of it. But at this point in the game, I think their night could be over. I think we.
And, you know, John Marshall not looking to make any subs right now. And Crocker 1 for 2 at the line.
So Edison, you know, we'll put this game behind us. You know, like I said, there's some things to learn, but, you know, this was just a really good team. We played hard, but what are you looking forward to, you know, as we move into this crucial stretch of prep league play, you know, and down the stretch?
You know, this team extremely capable of beating anyone in the prep league. We saw it as the other top dog in Stab. The Saints already beat them by 11 on their home floor earlier this year as Zach Davila comes away with the steal. John Marshall intentionally fouling, up by 26 points, a minute 40. But, you know, this team last year came so close to winning the prep league. They lost that game by 2 in a game they certainly could have won if some extenuating circumstances regarding the officials had gone their way. There's a very questionable technical against Brandon Jennings that eventually ended up with him fouling out, and then the Saints weren't able to hang on. They lost by 3 after squandering a 12-point lead in the third quarter. But this team certainly looking to get revenge on Stab and finally win that prep league again. They're certainly capable of doing it. I mean,
they are. We beat Stab. Yeah. That's the team to beat. But, you know, it's going to be – Trinity still has talent, and Stab is a very, very good team. I know we took care of them at home, but especially if we have to go up there. I don't think we've won a game up there but in a long time. But this season has a special feeling to it. And so I think –
another foul.
Good take there. Had a lot of guys riding on him. He just kept going.
In 16 days from now, St. Chris will be traveling up to Charlottesville to take on Stab. We will be up there, and that will likely be the game that decides who hosts the Prep League tournament. The tiebreaker, if Stab were to win that game and both teams were to finish on one loss, has not been ironed out. There two options they were talking between were either making it whoever won the second matchup, which would mean that if Stab were to win that game, they would get to host, and the other option was a coin flip, which likely what the Saints would prefer. And that shot missed by Carter, and it'll be out of bounds, staying with John Marshall. Coach Jones will take a timeout. We'll be back in a minute.
It's just a sub timeout.
So welcome back. We mentioned the length of this fourth quarter. It started 23 minutes ago. For reference, the first half took about 40 minutes. A lot of fouling going on this quarter.
It's been a good time to talk, Edison.
It has. You know, this fourth quarter been pretty low stakes as John Marshall has put the game away. And they're going to blow another whistle. There's a travel.
Available.
Here's Connor Welch in the corner, and yet another whistle. He steps out of bounds. And Coach Jones will take another timeout. We'll be back. That'll be their last of the quarter.
Back.
Hello and welcome back. 86-60 your score here with 45 seconds to go.
I told you, Edison. Coach Jones calling a timeout. You could ask, what is he doing that for? But if the players are going to play hard, coach is going to coach hard. He's going to want to give them the best chance to be successful. I respect it.
Yeah.
I think he, is going to play the game to the end.
You know, that's what we were talking about earlier, the culture he's instilled here.
And look at these guys playing hard.
Yeah, whether they're down 40 points, up 40 points, or it's a tie game, these players are always going to give full effort. And that just speaks to what Coach Jones has done at this program.
Yeah, wow. That was an incredible possession. That was one of the best possessions all night. Just the defensive effort and the closeout, moving his feet, chopping his feet, created the turnover.
Here's Ayers. And puts it over to Crocker, who has it stripped. And I think Claireborn might have been surprised to be so open, as probably the easiest look of the night for John Marshall's no good. Connor Welch will lay it in, and that will do it. Saints fall 86-62. Alex, it was a pleasure to be on here with you.
Absolutely. We've got a chance to do several of these games over